Dave Kindig finally told the truth about why Bitchin Rides disappeared. A show that put a Salt Lake City custom car shop on the map walked away from television at the peak of its audience. And the man who built that shop says the reason has nothing to do with ratings. Dave Kindig, the founder of Kindig-It Design and the face of Bitchin Rides, has been straightforward about what actually happened. By the end of this video, you'll understand why walking away from the cameras was the only move that made sense for someone whose first loyalty was always to the car. Before there was a TV show, there was a kid in Salt Lake City who drew cars. Dave Kindig didn't come up through a traditional automotive trade. He studied commercial art and graphic design, built a career in that world, and used everything he learned about proportion, line, and visual weight to eventually redirect his life entirely. The transition wasn't sudden. It was years of building cars on the side, getting noticed on the car show circuit, and gradually realizing that fabrication was the thing that held his attention in a way nothing else did. Kindig-It Design opened in the early 2000s. The shop built its reputation the old way, by doing work so clean that clients talked, and then those clients talked to other clients. No algorithm, no viral moment. Word of mouth inside a community of people who knew exactly what they were looking at. By the time television came calling, Kindig already had a waiting list. The show didn't build the business earned the show. And that's when the decision was made, the one nobody around him saw coming. Bitchin Rides premiered on Velocity in 2014, and it did something unusual for automotive television. It didn't focus on the drama of a deadline, it focused on the craft. Viewers watched Kindig-It Design take vehicles apart down to bare metal and rebuild them as something the original manufacturers never imagined. The fabrication work was the content. The skill itself was the entertainment. The show found an audience immediately. Motor Trend eventually carried it as the Velocity brand evolved, and Kindig became one of the more recognizable names in automotive television without really trying to be a television personality. He came across as a shop owner who happened to be on camera, not the other way around. That authenticity was exactly what made the show work. Ratings held, the shop profile grew nationally. Clients from across the country brought builds to Salt Lake City specifically because they'd seen the work on television. By every external measure, Bitchin Rides was a success. Here's the part that changes everything about what you just heard. The version of Kindig-It Design that appeared on television was real, but it wasn't the whole picture. Running a camera crew through a working fabrication shop means accommodating schedules that have nothing to do with the build. Shots have to be set up, moments have to be explained on camera that would normally just happen. Client conversations that are straightforward in a normal shop context become complicated when a production team is in the room. Kindig has been direct about this in interviews. The show created exposure, but the show also created friction. Builds that might take a certain number of months at the shop's natural pace stretched longer because filming had its own demands. Clients who were paying for a Kindig-It build were in a sense also funding a television production. The shop's operational rhythm, the thing that made the work good, was being interrupted on a regular basis. This isn't a complaint Kindig delivers dramatically. He states it the way a craftsman describes a problem with a tool. Plainly, without performance. The cameras were useful for some things and genuinely disruptive to others. And over time, the disruption started to outweigh the benefit. Most people who know this story stop here. But the real story starts right now. What gets missed in most coverage of Bitchin Rides going quiet is the specific nature of the trade-off Kindig was making. It wasn't that the show became unpopular. It wasn't a network disagreement that's been documented. It was a fundamental conflict between two different versions of what Kindig-It Design was supposed to be. Television requires a shop to be a setting, a backdrop for story arcs, personality moments, and payoff scenes where a finished car gets revealed. An actual fabrication business requires a shop to be a precision environment where experienced people make thousands of small decisions without interruption. Those two things don't coexist easily, and at the level Kindig-It Design operates, the cost of interruption is measured in quality. Kindig built his name on a standard of work that clients could not get anywhere else. That standard required the shop to function on its own terms. The show, by its nature, asked the shop to function on television's terms instead. For a few seasons, both things were true at once. Eventually, they weren't. And if you think that was surprising, stay with me because this next part is why the whole story matters. Kindig-It Design didn't slow down when the cameras left. If anything, the shop returned to the pace it operated at before the show existed. Builds continued. The client list, which had never needed television to stay full, stayed full. Dave Kindig continued appearing at car shows, judging events, and posting shop updates that showed the caliber of work hadn't changed. As of 2025, there is no confirmed new season of Bitchin Rides in active production. Kindig has not made any statement closing the door permanently on a television return, but he hasn't signaled that it's a priority either. The shop is the priority. That has been consistent from the beginning. The audience that found Kindig through the show has largely followed him beyond it. The Kindig-It name carries enough weight in the custom car world that television was always more amplification than foundation. Remove the amplification, and the foundation stays exactly where it was. Here's what the comments kept asking, and here's the answer they never got. Until now. The question people keep asking about Bitchin Rides is why it disappeared. The more accurate question is whether anything actually disappeared at all. The shop is still there. The work is still happening. The standard hasn't moved. What left was the television version of Kindig-It Design, the edited, paced, camera-ready version that fit inside an episode format. What stayed was the actual thing. And Dave Kindig, when he talks about this, doesn't sound like someone who made a sacrifice. He sounds like someone who made a correction. Some people build a business to get a show. Dave Kindig built a show because he already had a business, and for a while, both could coexist. When they couldn't, he chose the one that was there first. Kindig-It Design is active, the waiting list is real, and the work coming out of that Salt Lake City shop in 2025 doesn't need a camera to prove what it is. Whether Bitchin Rides ever returns to television is a question only Kindig can answer. And based on everything he said, the answer depends entirely on whether it can happen without costing the shop what makes it worth watching in the first place. Do you think Dave Kindig was right to step back from the show to protect the quality of the work? Or did walking away from television cost his shop more than it saved?